So this is really interesting here, guys. And this is not a good sign for Trump. Trump, again, seeks to delay the $83 million judgment in E. Jean Carroll case. So in January, he was ordered to pay $83.3 million for defaming E. Jean Carroll. And now let me give you the details of this. Attorneys for Donald Trump have repeated their request for a delay of the $83 million judgment in E. Jean Carroll's defamation case against the former president, arguing that the former columnist's lawyers contradicted themselves in a recent court filing. Defense lawyers Alina Habba, along with J.D. Sauer, who was recently added to the Carroll case after arguing for presidential immunity in Trump's federal election interference case, renewed Trump's request that Judge Lewis Kaplan delay the judgment for 30 days after Kaplan resolves the post-trial motions, or that he permits Trump to post a reduced bond of $24.475 million. Remitting the $7.3 million award and the $65 million punitive award, as discussed above, would reduce the bond amount to $24.475 million, which would be more than sufficient to secure any minimal risk to the plaintiff, Trump's attorneys wrote in a filing over the weekend. Last month, Kaplan declined Trump's initial request for a reduced bond or a delay, but he asked for a reply from Carroll's lawyers. In a filing last week, her attorneys argued that the reasoning in Trump's request relief boils down to nothing more than trust me. Trump's lawyers responded by arguing that Carroll's concern about Trump's limited finances is contradictory, highlighting that at trial, her lawyers emphasized Trump's wealth to convince the jury to reach a higher damages award. So they think they're going to logic chokehold their way into delaying Trump's payment. Oh yeah, in the trial, you said he's phenomenally wealthy. Now you're saying we don't trust that he has the money. Which is it? Which is it? How is any of this relevant to the fact that he was found liable to pay $83.3 million and he hasn't paid it and he needs to pay it? This is irrelevant, what we're talking about here. Plaintiff's current position that President Trump's ability to satisfy judgment of $83.3 million is in doubt is clearly inconsistent with her position barely 1 month ago that President Trump has $14 billion in assets and can thus easily satisfy an enormous punitive award, defense lawyers wrote. While Trump also owes $454 million in his civil fraud case, his defense lawyers argued that judgment is unlikely to be upheld on appeal and that the former president has many illiquid assets that could secure the judgment. Having accused President Trump of failing to provide evidence, plaintiff relies heavily on double hearsay speculative news articles alleging facts outside the record to imply that President Trump's financial situation is precarious, contradicting her own trial evidence, defense lawyers wrote. Trump in January was ordered to pay $83.3 million in damages to Carroll, a former Elle magazine columnist, for defaming her in 2019 when he denied her allegation that he sexually abused her in the dressing room of a Manhattan department store in the 1990s. Okay. So, look, bottom line, he's looking to delay payment. And my guess is, if they were to agree to it, he'd look to delay it again when the time comes to pay again. Which does beg the question, do you not have the money? Now, honestly, I actually don't think that's a difficult question to answer. Functionally, he's going to have to pay probably about $500 million when all's said and done. No, he doesn't have $500 million laying around. Of course he doesn't have $500 million laying around. This is all yes, you're going to have to liquidate Trump assets. You're going to have to go after some of the Trump organization buildings, for example, or golf courses, for example. I see no way around that. And, I think he knows that. And so this is the reason why you would want to delay as much as possible. But is he going to actually be able to get away with delaying it? I mean, look, I'm not an expert on the legal system, especially when it comes to civil cases. But I will say, unless he's got some sort of insane, unforeseen, out-of-this-world magic trick up his sleeve, man, this is a big deal for him. Because in the New York case, found guilty of insurance fraud and bank fraud and tax fraud and has got to pay so much money. And now this E. Jean Carroll case is $83.3 million. And does he have the ability to get out of all this unscathed? I don't think so, man. Especially since, as part of that New York ruling, he's not allowed to do business in New York for at least 3 years, and his son's also for a certain amount of time. And it's like, he's sort of destroying his business, destroying his finances. And, this is before, we haven't even gotten to the felonies yet. And there's a question as to whether or not that'll happen before the election. I hope it does, but it might not. But either way, he's still got his hands full with this stuff. And it looks to me like there's a lot of signs that this could do a number on him. This could do a number on him. We'll see if he's able to pull an Alex Jones. And Alex Jones, what did he do? He created new organizations and shuffled money around to different family members and friends and hid it and filed bankruptcy. And so then the question becomes, is Trump going to try to file for bankruptcy, which would sort of fly in the face of his brand? Understand that he's gone through business bankruptcies at least 6 times. He has no problem using that for businesses. But for himself personally, he said multiple times, I've never gone through a personal bankruptcy. So, and that kind of flies in the face of his brand. So would he do it here? I don't know. But he might be left with no choice if it really comes down to it. So we'll see what happens. But the fact that he's trying to delay it certainly is a red flag. Certainly is a red flag. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.